what it was like to grow older.
I was so depressed before my last birthday. I wasn't going to be a child anymore.
When I was in 5th grade, I fell off the monkey bars and broke my arm, but the school nurse told me I had only bruised it.
Why is it I keep getting older and older and I don't get any more mature?
This is 12.
This is 17.
This is 35 years old.
This is 50. When I was a young dancer, I was never concerned about my weight. But to tell you the truth, I should have been, because back then I was a little heavy.
You know, when I first realized I was getting older, it was when I looked at my hands and my knuckles reminded me of my mother's.
I've always been short, so my mother said she'd put me on a rack and stretch me.
So when I went to the hospital and the doctors found out that of course my arm really was broken, and they suggested that we fire the school nurse.
Later, when I'd mention that at home, my kids would always say, "But Mom, you're not fat." And I'd always say, I'm not fat for a mommy, but I'm fat for a dancer. Then one summer, I had a terrifically energetic residency upstate. Lots of teaching, lots of rehearsing, a couple of performances. And when I got back into the city that fall, everybody said, Claudia, you look terrific. You lost a lot of weight this summer. Well, one day I was in the dressing room with Dale Thompson, and she said to me, Claudia, you lost a lot of weight this summer. And I said, well, maybe I did, but I didn't try. I didn't do anything. It just kind of happened. Maybe I might have cancer. And I did. I found the lump a few months later. Well, I got through that. I got through the surgery. I got through the chemotherapy. Actually, we cut off chemo a little early because we found a brain tumor. Naturally, everybody thought that was a metastasis, which would have been curtains for me, and I spent a few morbid days over it. I got myself into New York Hospital for a week of testing. Some of the most grisly tests invented by man. And as the week wore on, and the results of the tests came through, it seemed more and more clear that I did not have cancer in my brain, but that I had a different kind of tumor altogether, something that is always benign. Well, it had to come out anyway. They sent me home for the weekend and scheduled surgery for the next week. Howard came to get me, and as we drove home, I had the most extraordinary experience. My enormous relief was translated into the kinesthetic sensation of floating. I sat high above the seat of the car. When we got home, I walked high above the earth. It was an amazing feeling.
My body is round and womanly. It's not what I would have asked for. That's too bad, right? My body's a limitation. You have to watch where you walk and how you walk, or the guys on the street will say things. Although I suppose they would anyway. People ask me what I'm going to major in college. I tell them I'm going to be a nun. Oh. I like the idea of being a nun. Nothing is expected of nuns. Nuns are pure. They're sacred. Married to God in their black robes. First time a guy touched me, it's like he was touching someone else's body. And I was just looking down on it. And I didn't want it. I didn't want the whole thing. What I like about dancing is that it's just me. No one else. But I like being touched when I dance. Because that's pure. That's safe. So if dancing doesn't work out, I can always become a nun.
I am so sick of hearing this question. have a child. Forget about the fact it reminds me of my age. Hey, it doesn't bother me that I have no partner or that my biological clock is just ticking away. So, what are my alternatives? One, I could adopt. No. My sister had a good idea. She suggested, why don't we find some really nice man who will be the surrogate father to our children? No. My mom has the best idea. She said, listen, Kathleen, move to Alaska. I heard there are lots of amazing men in Alaska. Great idea, Mom.
Shoulders, hips, knees, toes. Head, shoulders, hips, knees, toes. Head, shoulders, hips, knees, toes.
I do want to have a child. So when I want encouragement, I go to my gynecologist. I've been seeing him now for 4 years. Last time he saw me, he took one look and said, have your breasts always been like that? I said, like what? He said, you will never be able to breastfeed with inverted nipples. That is the least of my problems. I do want to have a child.
Ladies, don't you think that arms are really very feminine?
I think it depends on your arms, Claudia.
I have the arms of a chimpanzee.
I love your arms. I like my hip sockets because I have the hip sockets of a yogi.
Who was liking myself to cousin It?
Who's that?
Of the Addams family?
Oh.
I see the resemblance.
This is life. And this is the life. No one's here, and not my brother. He just loves to tease me. He's 3 years younger than me, and almost as tall as me. Plus he gets his kicks saying about how he's so good at sports, and I'm so bad at them. He says, ha ha, Kyra, in 2 years I'll be just as tall as you. Which is very disappointing, because what if in 2 years I've stopped growing? Well, he'll be 5'10" like my father. I'll be 5'1" like my mother, and there's nothing I can do about it. Last time I went to a family party with him, all of the relatives kept remarking about how big he was getting, but they didn't say anything to me. I felt like I was shrinking into my shoes. Well, I don't care. I'll just wear high heels next time I go to a party. We are all the same size when you turn out the light. And he'll be my little brother for as long as I live. And I'm going to live forever and ever